Good morning, YouTube family. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour. Welcome and good happy Thursday to you. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be. So glad that you guys are coming on to join me for today's a bit of crazy talk here because oh my gosh, I was thinking and seeing some and remembering sometimes when I saw narcissists just lose their freaking mind. And I remember it's not just when they lose their mind, but narcissists are so dangerous that they will destroy themselves in order to destroy their target. So it doesn't matter to them what they even do to themselves. Like you would not even have thought to hurt them as much as they will hurt themselves in their pursuit of achieving a goal. And that's what makes narcissists so dangerous and why I wanted to talk about this topic today. Because it's almost being glorified in our culture today that it's okay to explode on people. It's okay to be passionate or have emotion. Listen, I have emotion. You know, I have emotion. We're on here. We're talking to each other. I know you guys are emotional, have emotion. And that's great because we're human, obviously, right? Very, very few people are actually stoic. Very few people don't ever show emotion. But it's gotten to the point where people think it's okay to just have these outbursts and rages against other people because they're in the moment, right? They're like, well, I'm in the moment and that's what I'm feeling. But they have zero self-control. Zero. And it's really ridiculous that people last thing I heard was they were let me see how they put this. Um Oh, what is this? It's called shaming people, emotional shaming. Is that what it's called? I can't remember how somebody had put it. Emotional shaming or emotion shaming, which is they think that you're shaming them for having emotions. It's like no, no, we're not shaming anybody for having emotions. In fact, it's great to have emotions. It's great to be able to connect with people on an emotional level, right? I mean, that's the best relationships are the ones that you can be open with each other. But being open with each other doesn't mean it's okay for you then to destroy somebody verbally, emotionally, psychologically, right? Tear them down. But narcissists or people who get stuck in that moment of narcissism. So, not just narcissists do this, people who lose total self control do this. But narcissists, they enter the world of a narcissist for a moment or for that time. And I think, people who've talked to me about borderline personalities will have experienced that. And I understand, having emotions. I understand not being able to control it at times. But the goal should always be how do I control these emotions and not let them take over me, not let them control me, right? But narcissists will, as we know, don't see that they do anything wrong. So the difference between a narcissist and somebody who just loses um, control now and again, right? Some people they haven't matured enough, they haven't learned the tools to control their emotions and where to go with anger or where to go with anxiety or where to go with depression, right? How to handle those different emotions in a healthy way. So there's a maturity period, right? Time for you to grow and learn how to control these emotions so that they don't control you. And all of your emotions are wonderful. They are. They tell you what's wrong, they tell you what's good, they tell you if you're in danger. So these feelings will well up in you when you start to feel these things. But or when you start to get into situations where your body starts to tell you is trying to tell you you're in danger or this is not a safe place or this person is not trustworthy, your body's telling you like beware here. Or also your body tells you this is a safe person, right? This person will be there for you. This person is trustworthy. But when you allow your emotions to take over you, you can't understand, or you can't even be healthy in these relationships. So, you guys, we're going to jump into this topic today. But I wanted to see and welcome you guys who are coming on here. Good morning, Jihad. Yeah, it says it sounds like it's going to be a very good topic. No, Numo, good to see you. Kevin, good to see you. And just Queening, I think is what that says. I have an arrow. Oh, just Queenie, good to see you. Well, you guys, those who are just jumping on and listening, welcome. I hope that today's topic will help you have a little more sanity in your life, right? Be able to see that you're not going absolutely crazy, and also help you to see that you are not to be shamed into being loyal to somebody, or being somebody's doormat, right? Who is treating you badly just because they think they are emotional, so therefore they should be able to express themselves at any time with anybody in any way that they choose. It's ridiculous. I'm just flabbergasted. I just can't even understand how a person thinks that it's okay to abuse another person just because of the way they're feeling in that moment, right? No. If you turned it around on a narcissist and said, well, then it's okay for me to also abuse you when I'm in this moment, or when I'm feeling this way, uh, no, they're not going to take that. They won't agree with that. They'll see only they're justified in their anger or their emotions, but you're not justified. And they will use their emotions to say things, like if they're attracted to somebody else and they want to cheat on their spouse, they'll feel justified because they're following their heart, right? They don't have self-control, you guys. So it's just, that's the reality of it. But there are other issues. There are other reasons that we need to look at this, because today's topic has to do with, it gets so bad that a narcissist will destroy themselves and those around them. They will use people to reach a goal, and you will think, well, they won't let it get so bad that they will hurt themselves. So I'll go as far as they're willing to go because I love them so much. And I know that they're not going to destroy themselves. So I know they're not going to totally destroy me. But that is not true, because a narcissist will totally destroy themselves physically, emotionally, financially, in order to destroy somebody else. And they will take others with them who are willing to go with them. And I'll give you some examples. It's just insanity. There was a news story that I was, actually, it was on, I think, 60 Minutes Australia. Oh my gosh, you guys, this story is absolutely nuts. But want to say hi to a few more people. John Bailey, good to see you back. So nice to see you. Monique, good to see you. Tara Abba, hey, good to see you, Tara Abba. So, yeah, Numo says uses our children. Yes, you see, narcissists will use even their own children. And that's why children coming out of narcissistic households have very little self-worth, because they can't understand or imagine, if they have worth, then how can their blood parent treat them as badly as they did, right? How can a parent who's supposed to nurture and protect their child use their child, or destroy their child, and not feel any remorse, right? Any regret over what they did to their child. So, you guys, let's jump into this, because I took a few notes, and I want to first share with you the news story I was watching on 60 Minutes Australia. It was about a principal, I think, of a high school who, let me see how, I don't remember the whole beginning of it, but it was back when Facebook was getting, up and going, and millions of people, of course, were creating accounts. And so now suddenly there's this huge social media platform, much larger than we've ever had before, right? So this high school principal, I think she, what is that called when you eject a student from school? But she disciplined a couple of students, and she also expelled, sorry, that's the word, a student for being sexist, or well, she didn't even say sexist, but his behavior was bad. What he said was bad enough that she had to, I don't know, she expelled him, or what is that called when the kids are sent away or not allowed to come to school for a week or something like that, right? So you guys, oh yes, thank you, expelled. Numo says that. But so she does this, and a couple of parents get on Facebook and they start talking about the principal. And then some are just pretty normal, regular, about the school or something like that. But a few got on there, and it just became a public bashing session on the principal, to the point where they're calling her evil. I understand people calling somebody else manipulative. What else did they call her? Oh, vengeful. I mean, they just came out to say all kinds of horrible things about her, and name calling, of course, right? They're just calling her every name under the sun. They're so, it was like a public lynching. It was horrible. Well, she didn't realize this was going on until I think her sister or somebody in her family brought her attention to it. And when she was reading the stream, she was just shocked at what people were saying about her. And some of these were parents whose kids didn't even go to that school anymore. They had moved or something. So I think one of them was like that. And so she asked them, or she contacted a lawyer. I'm not even quite sure how this all came to be, but she contacted a lawyer, and the lawyer said, look, you can tell them to stop trying to defame you. I mean, they're just trying to spread word and trying to destroy her career. So she got a lawyer to protect herself from their libel and their verbal abuse online, running with, made up stuff that from their perspective, what they thought was going on, they called her self-serving and, I don't know, only concerned about her career and not about the kids. And it's not a lot of them. I mean, she had other parents who do care for her and did like her, and teachers who supported her, and, students that supported her. So anyway, the lawyer comes into the picture and says, look, you guys have to stop saying these things. And yeah, pretty much that's it. Just stop going into this crazy bashing of her character, public, in the public eye, right? This is libel. And so she had a few parents who then apologized to her. They realized they went overboard. They just got into this frenzy with everybody else and jumped in, and they realized they went overboard. I mean, it became hateful. It's just extreme hate coming out of these parents. And they didn't want to be doing that. They didn't want to get caught up in that anymore. So they backed off. But there was a core, I want to say, of three or four parents, I can't remember, but I remember this one lady who got on to Facebook when she said it was 1 a.m. and she just had 2 shots of bourbon. And I'm like, okay, lady. And when she saw this thread going on her feed, and so she jumped in, of course, drunk, right? And went crazy, just bat crap crazy, right? So, talking about the teacher, she still will say that, well, maybe I shouldn't have done it right after I was drinking, but I stand by what I said. It's like, but you know what? If you were sober, you would have had some control over what you were saying. Here's another thing. So there's another couple, and this is the couple I really want to talk about. They went after her so badly with their own lawyers, of course, right? And all they had to do was just say, okay, I'm sorry, I went too far. I just went too far. And they wouldn't do that. And not only that, the husband of this couple went to her house one evening when she and her husband, the principal and her husband, and their two children were in the living room watching a show, and they hear this bang, 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 bang on the door. So they go to the door, and the guy's screaming at them to open the door, and he wants to talk to them. Now, I want to tell you, when someone's banging at your door like that, screaming like they're out of control, angry, you do not open the door, right? Your instinct is not like, oh, well, come on in, let's talk. He is already like lost his mind. He starts breaking down the door. They have some glass panels on the top, I guess, portion of their door. He starts breaking it and tearing down their door. They're inside and they're trying to protect their kids. They're telling their kids to run to another room and close up the doors and in that room to protect themselves. They're videotaping this guy for 40 minutes, tearing down their door, banging at it, trying, demanding that they let him in. Okay, here's the deal. He and his wife have spent themselves into oblivion. They have no savings, they have no house, they have no assets left because they have spent themselves through lawyers to try to get at this principal. And all because they believe, let me think, I think it was their kid that they were saying was expelled because he was being, it was sexual, oh, I can't even think of the words, you guys, I'm so sorry, but misbehavior towards other kids. So she didn't say that it was sexual, but she said it was inappropriate what he was doing and it was explicit what he was doing. And she had to discharge him, expel him. I can't remember exactly. So these parents have lost their mind and they are saying how he was peer pressure to say or do what it was he did. I don't know what it was he did. They did not bring it up into the story. But I'm thinking, okay, but your son was complicit, okay? And your son actually did the thing that the principal had to react to. The parents could have taken it to the school board. They could have taken it up higher. They could have taken it to somebody above the principal, but they didn't. They just wanted to bash this woman as badly as they could and distort the story, and then along the way destroy themselves as they tried to get back at her. And I'm thinking, why? Why are you doing this? And not only that, they were so delusional to say that it was appropriate for them to tear down her door, to get into her house, all because, and then they acted as if, well, we just wanted to talk. This is how delusional people who've lost their minds will get. And it is dangerous. Had they opened the door, we don't know what would have happened. We don't know if this guy would have hurt them, would have hurt their kids. We don't know. But when you see somebody violently out of control to the point where they're destroying things in front of you, I don't think it's too smart to stand there, especially when you have young children, and put them at risk and say, oh, well, let me just stick around for this and see where the conversation goes. But this is what narcissists expect. They expect you to not respond in any way that your body is telling you to flee, to get the heck out of there. They don't think that they're that scary. But if somebody did that to them, let me tell you, they're not going to open the door. They're not going to be willing to listen to someone who's a raving lunatic. They'll think, well, they'll think that they're not responsible. But here's the thing, but they think everybody else is responsible for their happiness, to make them feel justified, to see that they are right. And they will do anything they can to destroy those that won't allow them to be right. It is so, so horrible. But, sadly, this whole story, I'm not saying the principal is 100% right, and she probably needed to be reprimanded for something or at least discussed amongst the school board. Her family's been living a nightmare. They've been getting death threats from these people. I'm not saying like a lot of people, it's just this handful of parents who just would not let things go. Not only that, they wouldn't sit down and civilly talk about things. There is no reason that you can't sit down and be civil. The only time you can't is when the other person is not willing to be civil. And it is not your obligation, it is not your responsibility to stay when somebody else is not willing to be civil. You have a choice to defend yourself and to walk out and end this conversation. So, you guys, that was a story that got me started thinking, what in the world, you know? And I understand there are places and times when somebody is a total jerk and you're like, what the heck? They were totally in the wrong, and you could be absolutely right. But it is not your responsibility or your right to go to their house and destroy their property and threaten, their physical well-being. There are other ways to handle this. There are other ways. And even if you go to court and all this, and not every court issue gets justice. We all know that, right? Not everything in life ends with justice. And you'll feel slighted, you'll feel taken advantage of, you'll feel, and that's, you guys, that's part of life. And I'm not saying like lie down and take it, but strengthen yourself. Make sure you never get into that situation again. Cut that person out of your life. There are other options in life. This world is big enough that you don't have to be in the same space with someone who you feel is abusive towards you. So here's the thing. It's not okay to absolutely lose your mind and go ballistic on somebody and threatening them because your perspective might be wrong, might have blown it out of proportion. That family, that couple just could not see that what happened to them was blown out of proportion. Their son could have recovered from this. He could have gone on. They don't talk about the kids at all and what happens to them. But let me explain something else to you. Even when, even if their son said, Mom, Dad, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Let's back off. We'll do this another way. The parent could have then started pouring nurture onto the child, could have started becoming more part of his life so he doesn't succumb to peer pressure, which is what their perspective was, right? That they thought, well, all his friends were pushing him to do this. Well, what kind of friends does he have that's pushing him to be sexually inappropriate towards other students, right? It was harassment. That's what it was, sexual harassment. So they should have stopped to think, what can we do to make sure our son is protected from this, from being around, choosing friends who encourage this, or being not strong enough to withstand people goading him into doing something he shouldn't do. They could have focused on that, but instead their focus was, we got to destroy this principal for destroying our life. And that's the way they saw it. They thought that she destroyed their son's life, destroyed their life. Their life is never going to get on track again. Their life is never going to, they have nothing left. And lo and behold, they actually had things to lose. They had a house to lose. They had their savings to lose. They had their financial security to lose. And they were so out of their minds, crazy, that they were willing to lose all of that and continue to lose all of that and put their son through even more trauma as they continued this fight that they blew completely out of scale. So you guys, this is why why I want to talk to you, because narcissists will do this. If you think that the narcissist will stop short of destroying themselves, and in this case, yes, it's narcissism, because it's years, it's not just a moment of momentary insanity, or your emotion just got so high and you're just like, well, I don't know what to do with this. But they insisted, and they were so deranged and so delusional to believe that it was okay for the husband to go to the principal's house and tear down her door and be threatening towards her husband and her in front of their children, and they still would not say that was wrong. They couldn't see that that was wrong. They couldn't see that if somebody did it to them, how they might feel. That is total delusion. And narcissists are so delusional that they will hurt themselves in the process of taking down their target. They will destroy themselves. So, you guys, not only that, it's not only financially that they, or physically like that they will come after a target. And it may not even be a target. This is the thing. When you're around the narcissist, I want to share with you two other examples of when a narcissist will destroy others and themselves to achieve a goal, because they have to project a certain image of themselves, and they will protect that image to the death. It's just really scary. It's really serious. I understand that. So, you guys, when I laugh about some of these things, it's because it's so ridiculous that I cannot even understand why a person would do this to themselves and then not see that what they're doing to others is so wrong. Well, you guys, let me say hi to a few more of you coming on here. Obi-Wan, good to see you. I have no friends because the world's nuts. Well, the world is not nuts. There are some people out there who are actually good people. There are a lot of people actually who are good people. We all lose our way sometimes, and I understand that. We all have bad days. We all have moments where anger comes over us, or anxiety, or depression, or jealousy, or temptation, right? We all go through that. This is being human, you guys. Being human. I get it. I get it. But so there's no shame in being human, okay? This is not about shaming you for the times you messed up. This is about learning from those times. Oh my gosh, how did I mess up? Why did I go down that road? Because I was feeling anxious. Why did I sabotage my own self, right? You don't want to do that. And when you look around and you see people who seem to have it all together, seem to be in control of themselves, seem to have things going well in their life, a lot of that is actually true. It's not, a lot of that is that it's because they know how to control themselves in a lot of situations. Maybe not all situations, but a lot of situations. And it helps them to get to that point. I know that I have friends who, had I poured out onto them, my blubbering of times when I'm feeling anxiety and insecurity, it would have made no sense. It really wouldn't have. It would have made no sense to them. There would have been no end. There would have been no goal. We would have achieved nothing. And in the process, I probably would have hurt them somehow by not controlling my tongue, by not controlling my fears, my anxiety. But I've learned that when I'm feeling anxious like that I need to sit still and examine what's the truth about this, and what's my part in it, and what can I do differently in this situation. And once I do that, oh my gosh, I can approach other people so much better, in such a much healthier way. I can make sure that, you know what, I'm not willing to go to this place with this friend or that friend anymore. I'm willing to have them, we build our relationship on trust and on reliability and on character. So if we see that the other person is treating us with all these good things, we treat them with all these good things, we can continue to deepen our friendships. Do we mess up sometimes, even with friends? Yes. And that's where we go, you know what, you were in a bad place, I'm willing to forgive, and that's not a problem. And you can forgive, and that's great. But when you see a friend repeating their bad behavior towards you every week or every month, you're like, okay, maybe this is not going to get better. Maybe this is not somebody that I can get deep with or trust my inner thoughts with, right? Innermost thoughts with. So it's good to have friends, but it's good to be aware of what people's limitations are, because we're all on this journey of maturing, right? We're not all there. We're not all at the top of our game at all times, and that's okay. That's okay. But the best kind of friends are the ones who will build you up when you're down, and you can be honest with them, and they're not going to be judgmental. You can be vulnerable with them and tell them, like, boy, I really messed up here. I shouldn't have done this or said that. And they're not going to judge you for that. They're going to say, wow, thank you for sharing that with me, and then help build you back up. That's a good friend. But narcissists or jealous people or toxic people are not going to build you up. They're going to act as if they're your friend and then go behind your back and hurt you. But you'll see this. You'll see it because you'll see them doing it to other people. And if they're doing that to other people, they're doing it to you too. And those people you do have to be careful with. Well, you guys, I kind of sidetracked there on Obi's comment. But you guys, just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share with you a couple of other incidents that had happened in my life that explains or gives you a clearer picture of what I'm talking about today. That narcissists will destroy themselves on their way to destroying others, but they also will destroy themselves and others in protecting their image. And let me tell you the kind of image they want to portray. For one, okay, there are three things that I thought of. They want to portray that they are desirable. So as they're trying to portray that they're desirable, and this is where they will hurt others and not be concerned about hurting others, they will sleep around with anybody. They will hook up with anybody. And they will, whoever, sometimes it's the low hanging fruit, right? It's the easy person that they can catch, and they know they can catch this person and make this person think that they care. And so that other people will think that, oh, look, this person, the narcissist is walking around with somebody on their arm. Obviously, they're desirable. So this is the way they see themselves. If there's somebody on my arm, if I'm living with somebody, if I'm in a relationship, so therefore I'm desirable. And the hard thing about that is if you're just somebody that they're using in order to portray that they're desirable, they don't really care about you. They only care about their image. They want to portray to others that somebody likes them, somebody is infatuated with them, somebody is desiring them. So a lot of people get hurt while the narcissist is trying to uphold this image of, look, women love me. They're all over me all the time. And if that's the image they want to portray, they can find somebody who will be there to do that. Sadly, sometimes they will marry the target in order to show other people that they are marriage material, that they are stable, that they are desirable, and they don't care that they just destroyed this other person in the process. They don't care that they're using this other person to portray this image. And it's not because they love that person that they marry them. It's not because they're so into that person that they're sleeping with them. It's not that they care about that person that they're living with them. They just want to make sure other people are seeing that they're not alone. They're not lonely. They always have somebody. So therefore, they're wanted and they're desired. Another image that they want to project is that they're wealthy or successful. And that, that's what comes up with, oh my gosh, the Bernie Sanders. I know this is an old story, but he's the easiest one to think of because I haven't really paid attention to others. But white collar crimes, wealthy and successful, they want to portray that they are wealthy, successful, and should be admired, right, for that. So they would be willing to take money from their own children. They're willing to take money from their own elderly parents. They're willing to take the life savings of their friends that have been friends with them for a decade, 2 decades. They don't care. They will take the other people's life savings in order to portray this image that they are wealthy or successful. It's really scary because they're so charismatic that they can talk their friends and family, longtime partners, into giving up their life savings to the narcissist, while the narcissist is trying to tell them, look, I have this new startup business and it's going to make you so much money. And they'll take the money and not even know what the heck they're doing with it. They won't know how to build up their business. They think that the more money they throw into it, the more successful it will be. Only to find that they are just throwing money at a concept. And this concept, they don't even know what to do with it. They don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to make money out of money. They don't know how to invest. They don't know how to do you see all these commercials all the time on YouTube of, oh, look, I started up an Amazon channel or website. And so therefore I'm making millions of dollars now and I'll teach you, there are not that many who are getting rich from doing that. I mean, there are some that are getting rich. I mean, I guess there are. If you're looking at billions of people in the world, yes, there are a few. There could be thousands out of billions that are making that money. But here you go. The narcissist will convince the people closest to them that they are trustworthy and that they know what they're doing. They're successful. So your money is going to be making you so much money, and they'll take the money from you. I knew a guy who took, oh my gosh, like $100,000 from a friend of his, a mentor, and lost it all, lost the whole thing. And, I think that he felt somewhat bad, because narcissists do feel a little bit bad. I'm not sure that he feels bad that the guy lost $100,000. I think he feels bad that his image was tarnished when it didn't work, when it failed. Oh my gosh, hold on, my dog's walking through my wires and stuff. My dogs, oh goodness. So you guys, that's the second thing that they want to protect, is their image of wealth or success. And they will take down anybody in order to achieve that. It's almost like giving an alcoholic, and I hate to say this, because I know some people out there are alcoholic, and I'm sorry to use this excuse, or addicted to something, and that person is not yet off of the alcohol or off of the drugs, and they're making you all these promises that, just trust me with your house, just trust me with your life savings. And you know better, like, well, this person is not in control of themselves yet. So no, I'm not going to give them my life savings. But a narcissist, it's not that obvious, right? You can't see, like, obviously this is someone who's addicted to drugs, and I'm not going to give someone who's addicted to drugs my life savings, who can't control themselves. The narcissist will dress up nice and look good and clean, and you're like, well, they look successful. They're driving a nice car. They're wearing really, expensive clothes. So be careful of that. Here's the third thing that came to mind for me too. When a narcissist will try to achieve a certain goal and take themselves, but others as well, down with them, they want to project an image that they're smart. Yeah, so this is really terrible, because it will take down your company. Say you're the business owner and you hire this person, and the person will act as if, oh no, I know exactly what to do here. I know how to do this. I am so capable. I have had all this success behind me, and they probably don't have any success behind them, but they will talk it up as if they've achieved so much in their life. And then this is where it's really important, then, if you are investing in this person, to then check. You have got to check and double check. And, if they said they they graduated from an Ivy League school or whatever. Check that. Don't just take their word for it. If they said they were top of their class, check that. Do not take just their word for it, and check multiple um, outlets, or what is it, multiple places, to make sure that this is true, what they're saying to you, because they are not a humble group of people, narcissists, right? They truly believe that they're the smartest person in the room and everybody else is an idiot, right? They believe that they know how to do everything. Oh, yeah, I can help you fix that in your car. And they'll destroy your car trying to fix it. Um, oh, yeah, no problem. I know how to build a deck, or I know how to whatever. So they'll come out and they will destroy whatever it is that you have. They won't lay the foundation properly. They won't use the proper screws. Your deck will fall apart. It is not well made, whatever it is that they're doing. So be so careful that you don't just trust or take the narcissist's word at face value. You have to actually see their work, see what they have accomplished, see that they know what they're doing. You can't just go by somebody who's just so confident, right? So egotistical, so has such high self-esteem that you think, oh, well, they must know what they're doing because they believe in themselves so much. No, they'll do this and they'll know they don't know what the heck they're doing, and they'll take you down. They will destroy you. They'll destroy your company. They'll wreck your car. They'll mess up your whatever addition you're building to your home, or finishing your basement, or building your deck. They will give you the worst foundation possible, and you're going to have to tear it down and rebuild it. So be so careful not to listen to these narcissists that are telling you they know exactly how to do things. Well, then sit down with them and watch what they do. Have them explain to you how is it that they're going to do this. Like, actually listen and require them to tell you their plan. Because if they aren't going to sit down and explain to you their plan, they don't know what the heck they're doing. They're going to wing it. So that kind of goes back to the second image that they wanted to portray, which is wealth and success, because they want you to believe that they're smart enough to handle your money. So obviously, hand over your money and they will make you richer, just like they are, right? Meanwhile, they're in incredible debt, up to their eyeballs, trying to portray that they can upkeep this expensive car, expensive house, and fly all over the world, trying to, not all over the world maybe, but flying to other cities, doing, meeting with clients, or whatever it is that they're doing actually when they're going out of town. So you guys, this, today's topic had me so concerned, because our culture is at the point where people are saying that whenever you give criticism, now, criticism, okay, I gotta talk about criticism. That couple I was telling you about that was bashing the principal and going on and on, defaming her, what is it, smearing her character up and down everywhere, right? They called it criticism. They're like, she can't take a little criticism. That's not criticism. That's trying to smear somebody, okay? Criticism is when you can specifically point out one thing, specific thing, or maybe multiple things, right? But you can point it out specifically and say, this is how it should have gone instead. Like, give a solution, or say how it was not done properly, right? And then have something to back it up with. But these people think that bashing another person's identity, their character, bashing who they are as a person, whether they have a heart at all, that's just a little criticism. Telling them that they're evil, that's criticism. Like, that's not criticism, in a way where you can build or do anything with it. That is just flat out insults. They're throwing insults at this woman and calling it criticism, and then saying that she can't just take a little criticism and go on with her day. No, because when a narcissist targets you and wants to destroy your character and wants the whole community to hate you and not give you any chance at ever working again, that's not criticism. That's trying to destroy a person. So, and it's libel because they didn't have the backup that they were accusing her of, and they got a lot of their facts wrong as well. So, that's what we got to be careful of in today's society. Be careful when someone says that it's just criticism when they're actually bashing you and tearing you down and telling you there's nothing good about you and you have no worth. I mean, people were getting online. I was watching oh my gosh, a show where uh the people were saying that the public would get online and start bashing them racial, with racial slurs and telling them to hurt themselves and they don't deserve to live. And that's not criticism. That is total annihilating destructive words. It's not about trying to help this other person see, like, well, you know what, maybe you were being uh too unforgiving, or maybe bringing things to people's attention is not bashing them. So when a narcissist is bashing you and telling you there's nothing in you and they don't love you at all and there's nothing in you that they could possibly love and how much they hate you, and they're in these tirades, right? And they do this, maybe not all the time, but they do this in your relationship. That's not criticism. And they'll say, well, it's because you didn't unload the dishwasher when it was clean. Okay. Criticism would be, you didn't unload the dishwasher when it was clean. If you would do that, then we could not have a pile of dishes in the sink, and the house getting smelly from the dirty dishes. Criticism is letting them know how things could be done better, right? Not bashing them and then saying, oh, well, I was justified now to unleash on you my all of my anger because you didn't unload the dishwasher and you didn't pick up the laundry, or from the dry cleaners, you didn't pick up the dry cleaning. Okay, well, criticism would be, okay, you tend not to remember things, so could you make a list? Could you set a reminder on your phone? There's a solution that comes with it. But anyway, so if you're ever caught in a situation where a narcissist is telling you, or this toxic person is telling you what's completely wrong with you, that you're never going to do anything right, that your life is worthless, or they're telling you this junk, that is not just criticism. That is trying to destroy you, and then justifying it with, well, that's how I was feeling and you made me so mad and that's why I did this. Yeah, they got that mad, but they had a choice to control their tongue. They had a choice to be rational. They had a choice to make this constructive. They had a choice to make the situation better, not try to destroy you in the process, right? So, you guys, when we allow people to justify their incredibly bad behavior just because that's the way they were feeling, that's really, it's not acceptable, and we shouldn't be saying it's okay to do that. It's okay to lose, I guess, I don't know, it's okay not to be perfect. I get it, I get that. Sometimes we're going to lose control, I get that. But if they're not actively working at trying to stop that behavior, if they're not willing to say that that behavior is wrong, that's the beginning, by the way. If they can't even see that their behavior is wrong to begin with, they're not going to change it. They're not willing to change it because they don't see that it's wrong. They see it's justifiable. And then our culture is now turning around and saying, oh, you're trying to shame this person for having outbursts just because they're an emotional person. Like, look, some people are more emotional than others. Like, okay, I get that. But we all can be in control of ourselves. Like that's the minimum. That's the bare minimum of having self-respect, but also respect for others, is controlling your crazy outbursts when you feel like unleashing on somebody, right? You don't have to unleash on them. Um, but for some reason, people are starting to feel like it's okay. As if it's a healthy thing to let it out in that way. Yes, you want to let out bad feelings, you want to let out frustrations, but you don't unleash it on somebody and use them as a punching bag. Use a real punching bag as a punching bag, right? Go to the gym, run around the block, exert yourself. Yes, get those emotions out. I agree with you. You don't want to bottle them up. I get that. But it is not appropriate to unleash it. And narcissists won't see that it's inappropriate to unleash it in that way because they think whatever way it comes out, that's the way it comes out. So, not their fault. It's not their fault, right? That they unleashed it the way they did. When it is completely their fault, it is completely in their control. Well, you guys, let me see some of the comments here. I'm sorry, I've been missing some of you here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Obi says, my parents would tell me to avoid these people, but didn't tell me why. And I messed my life up with it. And this is why I love doing the Happy Crappy Hour with you guys, by the way, is because I'm letting you know the why. I want you to know that people who are telling you, I'm just a very emotional or passionate person, like that's great. Love passion. I'm a totally passionate person as well. I love being all in and in the moment and excited and there with people. I love celebrating. I love being passionate with my husband. I love enjoying, my playtime with my dogs, even. I'm all in. I love enjoying life. I get it. I also have had moments of, just total sadness. And I've embraced that as well. And, have let the floodgates out and cried to my heart's content. And I have loved those moments as well. And the times where I felt anxious and angry or whatever, actually, I have loved the way it comes out. It comes out in exercising for me. I haven't run around the block, but I've ridden my bike. I ride really fast and really hard, and or I will do something strenuous at home to get it out. And you're not hurting yourself. You're actually getting stronger physically. And then on top of that, that exertion, it feels good. It feels so good. So I love being a passionate person. But if someone's telling you they're passionate when they're beating on you, they're screaming at the top of their lungs in your face, 2 inches, they're spitting, in your face. They're hitting you. That's not passion. That's just someone who's in total out of control. Just complete have lost all control. And that's a dangerous person. And you don't need to be there to stay, to listen to their excuses for why it's okay to treat you this way. You know in your heart it's not okay to treat anybody else that way, and you wouldn't treat somebody else that way. So it's not your responsibility to be treated that way. Yeah. Obi also says, every time my narc tries messing me over, I profit from her boo boos. Yay! That's an ideal situation, actually. Numo says, the more he tries to control and manipulate me, the more unstable he looks. I just stay quiet and calm. Yes. Yes, right? When you see narcissists go out of their minds, you're like, what the heck? They have lost their mind, right? They have lost their crap. Jihad says, sometimes we deal with those types of people for a reason. It's a lesson for us, and we have to not let them destroy us. Rather, we learn from it and grow and help others. Yes, absolutely. Measure twice. Good to see you. How about that? Mine tries screwing me financially, and these people look into what my narc told them, and they realize they owe me money. I want to thank her, but been no contact and want to keep it that way. Yes, keep it that way. Just say thank you to the air to her. Yeah, Measure Twice says narcissists are not on the same journey of maturity, correct, that we are on, unfortunately. My 80-year-old covert narcissist mother has never matured nor shortened in her nastiness. Oh, softened in her nastiness. Yeah, that's why we wanted to differentiate between a narcissist and somebody who is human, right? We all mess up. We all lose our temper sometimes. We all get pushed to the edge. We all have temptations. Hopefully, we don't go with the wrong ones. We all have given up things in our life, or territory in our life where we regret it, right? We are like, I overate, or, I gained so much weight and I got out of shape so badly. Okay, so now you have a choice. You can get back into shape, right? Start eating healthier, making better choices for yourself. We all make mistakes, and that's normal. But we grow. We grow as people. We tend to adjust, right? And make adjustments in our life so that we get better. And narcissists just don't. Just like Measure Twice was saying, her 80-year-old mother. And I have a situation like that as well. A mom who's just stuck in her delusion, and I really wish I could help her out with that, but they have to want it. They have to say, wait a minute, am I what I'm seeing not actually true? They have to get out of their attack mode, because if you try to help people, not people, but narcissists, right, to see the truth, they will turn their focus onto you and start attacking you, and you have to be careful of that. Heather Lynn, good to see you. Oh, yeah, right. It's absolutely crazy, Heather Lynn. Yeah, if people are, yeah, the parents of that kid, I don't understand why they, once a narcissist feels like they, feels offense, from somebody, they will feel it as an attack, even if it's just a verbal, an actual criticism of them. And I have other videos about that, by the way. One called Narcissists Can't Handle the Truth. But when you do try to give a narcissist constructive criticism, you do try to give them instruction or advice, they will take it as offense. Or when you discipline them and say, no, you cannot do that, you're going to get a demotion for cheating the company, or, leaving early every day for the last 3 months, and taking vacation time, or not even vacation time, taking 2-hour lunches when you're supposed to only be taking a half-hour lunch, but you've done this 15 times, and they get disciplined, they're going to see it as an attack. They won't see it as deserved discipline. They won't see it as constructive criticism. They won't see how what they've done is so wrong and warrants being disciplined. They don't see it. They'll make excuses and think, well, what's so wrong with this? And look at other people. Other people have done so much worse. It's like, but other people are maybe paying in other ways. You don't know. They don't know. But they believe that they should be getting away with everything all the time. They just don't grow, and they go crazy. Crystal says, hold on, you guys. Let me go back. I must have missed something. Oh, yeah. Measure Twice says, narcissists show themselves during conflicts or disagreements in particular. They get nasty. Yes, they do. Oh, yeah. Crystal Jean says, that's my story. The kids and I were his mask of normalcy. Exactly. Narcissists will use people, will use their family as a mask. And they don't even stop to think how this is hurting their own family, their own wife, their own husband, their own children. They don't see, oh my gosh, there's this proverb, and I don't think it's just for women, although it is for women in the proverb. It says something like, a wise woman builds up her house, but a foolish woman tears hers down with her own hands. And I think of narcissists or people who have lost their way. So, not just narcissists, there are some who've just simply lost their way and just haven't learned, or just haven't, or are so damaged that they don't know yet how to build up their life and those around them. They tear down their own life. They they sabotage themselves, right? They will get in their own way. Now, people like that you can help, who are getting in their own way and they're trying and they just don't know what they're doing wrong. You can help them. But narcissists will use people purposefully to project their image, and they will not see at any point how it is wrong. They cannot understand that other people don't deserve the way they're treating them. Yeah. Yeah, measure twice as narcissists don't have integrity. Ah, exactly. Measure twice also says if you have boundaries, you can protect yourself. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys with the boundaries. The boundaries are you don't accept it. You don't have to stick around and listen. You don't have to stand there and take the abuse, right? You don't have to stand there while they're screaming in your face. Before they even get that close to your face, while they're outside and screaming at you like that guy, right? Banging on the principal's door, screaming and yelling and losing his mind. Um, it is not your obligation to open the door and let them then be 2 inches from your face. No, it is not. It's not your responsibility. You're not obligated to do that. You actually have a responsibility to protect those around you, like she did with her children. Her husband wanted to protect their family as well. That is our obligation. We can protect ourselves and with boundaries and say, no, I'm not letting you in to, and I've been, oh my gosh, in those situations too. Where was this? I've seen where people get so angry. Oh yeah, well, with my mom, but where she came to my door. I was a teenager and she had lost her mind once again, screaming and yelling at me. So I took off. I not out of the house though. I went into my bedroom and I closed and locked the door because she was a raving, screaming, crazy lunatic. She starts screaming and yelling at me, and she's telling me, yelling at me to open the door, and I'm thinking, no, if I open the door, she's going to come hit me. And that's kind of what started the fight, because she was slapping me and I said to her to stop slapping me, and I clenched my fist. I wasn't hadn't lifted them. It was by my side. So once I started clenching my hands and she saw that, or just one hand, she thought I was going to strike her back. And then she started slapping me even more and saying, go ahead, strike, you're going to hit me, go ahead and hit me. And that's when I was like, no, I'm not going to hit her. I was, I think I was 15 at the time, 15 or 16. I can't remember if I had turned 16 yet, but so I just ran up to my room and closed the door and locked it. I didn't slam it. I just closed it and locked it because I was scared. I was scared like she was going to try to get into a total physical fight with me. And I didn't want to. And I didn't know how far she was going to go as far as hitting me. So I'm up there. She's banging on the door, screaming at me to unlock it. And of course, everything inside of me is saying, no, don't unlock this because she's going to go crazy. I mean, she's already crazy. So then I hear her. She had gone into the kitchen to get a knife, and now she's trying to open the door with the knife. And I'm like, holy cow. And she's still screaming at me to open this door. I'm like, no, why? And then I said to her, I'm not going to open this door until you calm down. And guess what? Just like a crazy person, within 2 seconds, she puts on this calm voice and she's like, okay, I'm calm now. You need to open the door. And I was like, oh crap. I told her I would open it when she was calm. And guess what? I don't know that it was the right thing to do, but I did open the door because she acted like she was calm. And she's yelling at me, but at least she wasn't hitting me anymore. And then my dad came by. I don't know what happened. I think he just told her like, to go downstairs or away, and she went with him. But narcissists think that they are in complete control when they're going completely ape crap crazy on you. And they don't see that what they're doing or the way they've overextended themselves or the way they overreacted was wrong at all. Did she apologize to me? No, no, she didn't. She never, ever apologized for that incident. She never apologized for hitting me. She never apologized in any of the incidents that have ever happened in my life with her. She just can't see that she's done anything ever wrong, you know? Um, anyway, so yeah, I've been in this situation where I felt compelled, like, oh my gosh. And that was a really weak boundary that I gave, by the way, because I was 15 and didn't really know how to set up boundaries. But even when you say, hey, I'm not opening this till you calm down, and they, like a switch, they turn it off. Okay, I'm calm now. And you say, you know what? I don't feel safe. Why don't we talk about it later? Because, part of you also feels, and I think at the time I felt like it's just going to escalate if I don't open the door now when she's pretending to be calm. Um, so I guess it's case by case, situation. But everything tells me now that don't open the door. Don't let them in, even if suddenly they change their voice. Oh, here's another thing. Let me tell you, narcissists are able to control themselves, but they choose not to. And this is so funny because it was a comedian who came up with this, who said this, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so right. He was talking about him and his wife. And of course, this is not just with narcissists, okay? This happens with people all the time. And this is how you know, and I know, we are in control of our emotions. We can be in control, but we choose not to sometimes. So he's talking about his wife, and he says that, here, I'll tell you how I know that women can control their frustrations or anxiety or whatever it is, right? His wife unleashes on him once a month during that time of month. He says, because when she's PMSing and she's yelling at me and she's in this fit, the phone will ring. And then suddenly she's like, oh, hey, Martha, how are you doing? And changes night and day. A switch goes off, right? Completely. From screaming crazy lunatic at her husband, picks up the phone, and suddenly pleasant conversation with her girlfriend. And the husband standing there like, what the heck just happened? That's how we know, yes, when we know somebody's watching, when we know somebody else is in the room, when we know how this is going to look from somebody else's perspective, and we can control our emotions, then that means it's not right. It's not right that we're unleashing just because we're in that, at that time, we just got so mad at somebody, just like the narcissist. But the narcissist won't even see that and go, wow, yeah, I can control myself. Anyway, yep. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments, you guys. Yeah. Measure Twice says narcs can't delay gratification well either, which is often required to run a business. Yes, absolutely true. Sometimes though, narcissists get lucky because they hire very capable people who run their business for them. Yeah. Yeah. Measure Twice is saying how she thinks that social media is growing the number of and conditioning people to become narcissistic. Yeah, and that's why I also wanted to talk about that today. That social media, the culture, we're getting to the point where people are excusing extremely bad behavior. You know, based on perception. Like if you feel this way, if you perceive things this way, then it's okay for you to unleash your emotions, right? And not be shamed. I'm like, what the heck? That's not about shaming. So narcissists will see correction as shaming. It's like, no, we're not shaming you. We're letting you know that that this is unacceptable. You should not be behaving this way. We're not saying you're a bad person. We're saying that you have overstepped your boundaries and should not have hurt this other person, called them every name under in the book, and thrown them under the bus and stomped on them. They just can't see it. They just think, well, You're shaming me for having emotions. No, that's not the case. So recognize when someone says, "Oh, you're just shaming me." That's the new argument now. Now you can say back to them, "No, I'm not shaming you. I'm letting you know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable." And they'll be like, "Oh, so now I'm not acceptable." No, I'm not saying you're not acceptable. I'm saying this behavior, when it is infringing on somebody else's boundaries, you're overstepping this person's boundaries, that's not acceptable. Yep. So you have to hold strong to that. Yeah. Measure Twice says their relationship with their children and family reveals a lot. Yeah, it does. Oh, okay. I think I saw something back here where Obi-Wan said that he. Oh, here it goes. I'm an alcoholic for you, Wan. That's the thing with addictions. You don't hate the addict, you hate the addiction. And hopefully you can help the addict get away from that addiction, because the addiction overtakes you, takes control of your life, right? It destroys you. Um, and when a person can break an addiction, oh, that's so good. So good. Very proud of you. Yeah. Obi-Wan says, I'm a lot less stressed since I quit smoking. Oh my gosh. Yes. I so agree with you about that, because I have a couple of people in my life who are smokers, and they seem to me, to be the most stressed out people ever. And they think that, oh, well, smoking helps to calm me down. And I'm like, well, no, smoking is helping you to avoid your real issue. Face the real issue, then you won't need to smoke, and then you won't go through these nicotine withdrawal moments and all that. Yeah, it's so bad for you. These addictions, they're so bad. You think that maybe they're soothing at the time, but actually they're making things so much worse. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Measure Twice says many narcissists despise churches because of the rules of religion, but some narcs do attend church and mask their inner evilness and lack of true spirituality and belief in their religion. Yeah. See, that's where I'm just like, oh my gosh. I have met some in church, and uh that's very scary, actually. Actually, all of their stuff is scary, but the ones who go to church, sadly enough, there are other people who go to church and think that they're safe here. Well, guess what? Church is full of people, all kinds of people, especially broken people. So don't just assume that if someone is going to church, then they must have their life together, must be perfect, must have um, complete, must be mature, must be responsible, must be, trustworthy. No, they're there just like you, right? Trying to get healing, trying to fix their lives, trying to find people who can accept them, right? And love them and not judge them. They're just like us. You're just like them. So, yeah. Crystal Jean says, I'm a former narc addict. Oh, weren't we all, right? Not really, but some of us were just friends with them, but completely unaware, completely unaware. Measure Twice says most all codependents are narc addicts or reformed narc addicts. Yeah, setting boundaries has helped me, and deal breakers are for friendships and relationships. Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys, let me see. Knowing the narcissist channels helped me predict their behavior, and I call them out on it. It's like they know I'm onto them and they act correctly. It's true. If you hold a narcissist to their behavior, right, and you don't accept their behavior and you give consequences when they behave badly, you don't just stand there and take it, right? Then they realize they have to alter their behavior, especially around you. They may not alter it around others because others don't have boundaries with them, but if you hold on to your boundaries, they will have to respect that, or else they're not going to be a part of your life, or else they don't get to interact with you, or they don't get to be uh, to talk to you. So hold on to your boundaries. Don't feel obligated that you have to take their abuse. You don't. we tend to do that because we think, we feel for them. We have passion, we have compassion, we're sympathetic to people who are hurting. So we think, well, I'll take some abuse because I understand that this person is hurting. You can choose to do that. You can choose to take some of the abuse, right? Because you see that they're not really trying to abuse you. It's just that they're hurtful right now. uh, you can accept a certain level of that, but then you can say, okay, now they're just losing their mind, and you don't have to accept that, right? And say, and you can even curb their verbal abuse as it's happening and say, whoa, 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 don't call me that. If you want to continue this conversation, don't call me that. Or you're now blaming me for something. This is, I'm willing to listen to you, but I'm not going to take the blame. So, yeah. Yeah. Crystal Jean says, oh, yeah, measure twice says, and codependents think they can change an arc. Yeah. We can help them. We can try to help them, but we have to be aware of whether they're actually changing or wanting to change. And if they're not showing that they want to change, we don't have to stay. Crystal Jean says, when we realize it was an addiction and addictions aren't healthy for us, and that's why we sometimes crave them, we can mentally sort it out better. The cravings will come, but less and less. True. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Measure Twice pointed out that the words act, right? Inauthentic behavior. They do. They act a certain way. It's not authentic behavior. It's yeah, unfortunate. Yeah. Measure Twice says, once you can spot a narcissist, you will avoid them like the plague. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. So true. When I'm around somebody who's like a narcissist, or I don't know, I allow myself to pick and choose now. Before I used to feel like, hey, give everybody a chance and everybody's good until they prove themselves bad, and um, you know, everybody deserves a second, third, fourth chance. Now I just go, huh, nope, didn't really care for that. I'm good. And then I let it go. I don't I don't continue to put myself in those situations to be in a relationship with somebody I just didn't feel like. They rubbed me the wrong way to start with. I'm like, that's okay. I'm good. I don't need to pursue this. So, I mean, it's not a terrible interaction that I have with them, but it's not going to be one where I build, a relationship on, or that I'm going to pursue a relationship with. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, I do hope that you guys are feeling. I see a lot of chatter going on here about narcissistic channels or narcissist channels or learning, and it's so good. It really is good. I'm so excited and so glad that there are people out there trying to help others because of their own experience with narcissists, right? Because we want to expose the tricks that they use and their playbook. We want to expose that. We want to explain what a boundary looks like and how to set one. We want to equip people to spot narcissists, right? And we want to teach you guys how to heal and teach ourselves, right? We're actually all in this together, and this is why I read your comments, because I see you guys growing. I see you guys having gleaned a lot of wisdom from others. I want to share that. I want to share those things on my channel because that helps all of us. It helps all of us to then, as you guys are saying, run the other way when we meet a narcissist. It's like, holy cow, no, we don't need that in our life. But when you cannot run from a narcissist, at least then you can maintain and be in control of your situation with them, right? And how they treat you. And and God forbid you may one day have to protect yourself from them, and uh yeah, and build sort of like an armory in preparation for your war with them. If you're at work with them and you know you have to work with this narcissist who may one day sabotage you. So keep documentation, write down everything that happens between you and the narcissist, and even things that you heard the narcissist say to others. Write those things down, who they said it to, and when they said it, and when they did things. Because one day when they want to sabotage you, you'll be equipped, you'll be ready. Yeah. Yeah. Measure Twice says there is full blown narcissistic personality disorder, and there are people with narcissistic tendencies. Neither is worth having in your life. And you know what? People who have narcissistic tendencies, they're not, yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They really are. They're sabotaging themselves. I know because I learned a lot from my mom in like my temper. It was horrible. It was horrible. It has since calmed down, and I don't explode on people. Well, I never exploded on people, but with my husband, he's taken a lot. He really has. You know, he was he was just so loving towards me and caring. But the best thing that he did for me was to tell me, no, that's not acceptable. You cannot do that. And once I got that, I was like, wow, you're right. Why am I doing this? And I was able to change. So thank God that somebody stood up to me and said, no, don't do that. That's not acceptable. Don't treat me this way. And I was like, whoa, you're right. And you know, he had said, I don't deserve to be treated this way or spoken to like this. Like, wow, you're right. And someone who has grown up with a narcissist and learned their ways, um, you pick it up whether you want to or not. I mean, in your head, you know it's wrong, but you act out of habit because this is what you've seen, this is what you've grown up with. But when other people set boundaries for you, it helps you. It helps not just them, it helps you, right? To then say, wow, okay, they're right. I need to make some changes here. I need to see them and value them and appreciate them. And people with narcissistic tendencies can grow, can change, but you're not obligated. You're still not obligated to be there to take it if they're abusive towards you and they're not changing and you don't really want to deal with it. You don't have to deal with it. Hopefully they do find somebody who loves them enough to help them. That, or they learn on their own, like, wow, I'm looking around and there's nobody here. What is it that I need to change in order to make my space a safe space for others, right? So, oh my gosh, that's terrible, Obi. Says his mechanic is a narc and it's kind of fun watching him try to hustle me. Yeah, that's kind of, I hate that too. Yeah, Crystal says they have very low impulse control. True. Especially if they're stressed or feeling out of control. Yeah, and that impulse control also includes temptation. If they feel the impulse to take and or to cheat or to lie or steal, they'll do it. Yep. Ooh, yeah, that's not good. Measure Twice says, yes, it can be fun and hilarious to mess with a narc, but it's a high level Jedi power. That's what I was laughing at. That's pretty funny. Because you're playing with evil energy. Better to leave them alone, honestly. I would agree with that. But it is funny. Thank you for pointing that out. It is high level Jedi play, isn't it? But you got to be so careful there because and you're right. That's a really good example because if you, although it's fictitious, Star Wars, um, if you can imagine, they will fight to the death. That's it, the fighting to the death. They don't care that they destroy themselves in the process of destroying you. And that's why it's so much better to just leave them alone and walk away. Yep. Oof. Yeah. Crystal Jean was saying, I've known my sister was entitled, envious and our relationship was one-sided. It was eggshell flooring for 15 years. Now I've realized she's a covert victim narc. Just no tolerance anymore. True. Yeah. Oh my gosh, covert narcissist. You're right. You notice that you have to watch what you say all the time with them. I think that is one of the clues, is that this is a covert narc when you don't feel comfortable opening up to them. You don't feel you feel like there's something just not quite right, and they're always the victim. You're always feeling sorry for them. Everybody in their life has treated them badly and they have all this misfortune. I mean, nobody's that unlucky. Nobody is that terribly off that there's no good thing in their life. Oh my gosh, so crazy. So crazy. Yeah. So Krista Jean says, my mom is my sister's enabler. She's been guilting me about my decision about distancing myself from my sister. Of course, I caused a rift in the family. Yeah, and you're to blame, right? That really upsets me because their enablers will blame the people for not being a doormat, right? How dare you not throw away your life and sacrifice yourself for your narcissistic sibling? It's laughable to me. I just cannot even understand how the heck that makes any sense to somebody, right? How the heck that would make sense to your mom, Crystal Jean? Because, I mean, is there a way? And she'll just say, oh, you're exaggerating, or you're not being her doormat just because you love her. It's like, yeah, but I am, by taking her abuse, because I walk away from that feeling pretty crummy, and she ruins every day, every time that I have with her. Every time that I have with her, it ruins my whole day. So she destroys your day, your life, your week, and your mom will expect you to stay there. Holy cow. And other narcissists will do that too, by the way. Not just, oh my gosh, I have this with my narcissistic mom and my narcissistic uncle. The two of them in this family, very, very large family, by the way, of brothers and sisters, the two of them, nobody can get along with them. Nobody. And their siblings love them. Their siblings continually forgive them, continually let them back into their lives, because their siblings don't know about narcissism yet. So, but they will guilt everybody into staying in the other person's life. Like my mom will guilt her siblings, and me included, um, to stay in my uncle's life. And we're like, what the heck? And she's his biggest critic. She hates him the most, right? Or has hated him. That's how narcissists are. It's hot and cold. She loves him, she hates him. She loves him, she hates him. But she has hated him the most, more than any of the other siblings at times. And yet she will guilt everybody into staying in his life, which I think is total BS. But they make no sense. Well, you guys, there are a lot more comments here, and I'm sorry if I did not get to you. Ricky James, good to see you. I don't even understand where that came from. Well, you guys, so glad that you were able to join me today. I'm going to give you a couple minutes here to wrap up. Oh, Crystal says, escape. My mom knows about my sister. My sister abuses my mom the most. But she says my sister has a glitch and she needs me. My mom feels guilty her daughter turned out that way. Yeah. She wants the happy family. Yes. And you know what? That's where we do have to be the voice of reason when it comes to the enablers, because the enablers are still stuck in that, fantasy world where they want something, just like we were, right? We got stuck in friendships or relationships with lovers who we thought, well, if I just do this for another month or another year or a few more days, they're going to change, because you want so badly to have future that is faked, right? And part of the faked future, by the way, with a narcissist is that you want to have a perfect family. You want to have that Hallmark family, right? Greeting card family where mom is so happy to see you on Thanksgiving and Christmas and on the weekends, and wants to love on you on the weekends when you come visit. A daughter is so doting on her mom that she remembers her birthdays and, tells the mom how grateful she is for her. We all want these type of pictures, our siblings, brothers and sisters who get along and love each other as children, um, and go on vacation together, But we want this to the point where we will overlook the other person's abuse, and to the point where eventually we get divorced or we have to separate. We just have to separate from family members in order to stay away from that toxicity. So I do feel for your mom, and I pray that she it's hard. She's never going to give up on your sister, but I hope that her relationship with you continues to improve, Crystal Jean, and that you will be able to have that happy family with your mom, but just without your sister. And you're going to have to hold strong to that boundary with your mom and be like, you know what? I love you. And you can have that relationship with your mom. You can be that kind of daughter to your mom. And hopefully your mom can be that kind of mother towards you, the ideal picture that we have. And or at least work towards that. So I hope that for you. You guys, I know there's so much more to talk about and so much more wisdom to share with each other, but I have got to get going. Oh, I want to see what measure twice says here. Okay. The reason narcs in the family have love-hate interactions between the narcs is to do or have awareness that they need the family together to maintain the drama and manipulation. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's supply. It's all supply to them. However they can keep that supply together, that's what they're going to try to do. Well, you guys, oh, Obi-Wan, it was depressing, but I got through. I hope you meant like, in the past, not this talk, right? You guys, blessings to you. Obi, I'm so glad you showed up. I know you don't want to, stay on these channels all the time. And Crystal Jean, thank you guys all for coming back. Jihad, so great to see you guys today. Oh, Nutty Bear. Yes. Thanking God I'm free at last, and ain't never going back. Amen to that, Nutty Bear. So, guys, I so appreciate you being here, and I loved all of your comments. Numo, good to see you. Blessings to all of you guys. Hey, let's, continue to uphold or, lift each other up, continue to learn from one another, and see that there is hope. And you guys, I pray for you guys every day. Blessings to you, and I will see you next week.